coming of resistance. And I think it is all this is partially possible because reality itself, the reality which is confronting us, is also revealing itself. So it's not something which is closed onto itself. So in a sense, knowledge is meeting the reality halfway, since it is revealing itself, and we are trying to overcome its resistance as well. Okay, so, and Allama Iqbal mentions there are two different ways of understanding and knowing the reality. So one indirect way of establishing connection with the reality that confront us is reflective observation and control over its symbol as they reveal themselves in sense perception. And the other way is direct association with that reality as it reveals itself within. So there are these two ways of knowing the reality which confronts us. And I think they are complementary ways. We have to combine both ways to actually know the reality as it is and become part of its self-expression, I guess. So that's subject and that's object. And this object is standing there as the other. But in reality, this subject is revealing itself or ready to reveal itself if you approach it properly. And it reveals itself in two ways. As something external to us. So as something external to us, it confronts us. And the way to know this something is reflective. That is through a distance, through a separation of a sort, at least to start with. And basically this is done through observation, sense experience, understanding, and all that through concepts. And this is reflective observation, as Iqbal says, and controls of its symbols. Control of its symbols, the object, through conceptual appropriation, I guess. So that's one way, and this is the indirect way or mediated way. Or mediated way because you are knowing subject and object as something external, and you're knowing them through senses and concepts. And concepts, in concept, you don't know the object directly because concepts always work through mediation, through including a particular within a universal of sort. But on the other hand, there is another way, is direct association with that reality as it reveals itself within. But this same subject and object, and I guess once we know it conceptually, this conceptual knowledge become part of us, and then we can know somehow from within this same object directly. Because so direct knowledge is intuitive knowledge. And traditionally it means non-conceptual knowledge. And in such a knowledge, object is not seen as something other than object is not something other than you or you as the subject. It is rather something which has become part of your subjectivity. And since conceptual reflection, through conceptual reflection, you have brought the object from outside to within. So it has become part of your space of reason, in a sense. And once it has become part of a space of reason, I guess this is highly abstract, but that otherness which the object has when it is confronting us as a reflective observational reality separate from us, that otherness has been overcome in a sense. And now you can relate, even though the way you brought in is conceptual, that's conceptuality because it is located within the space of reason, brings the object within the field of the subject. and hence overcome the. So in that sense, it reveals itself within that field from within, I guess. So that's my way of reading this. Okay, let's go back. So one indirect way of establishing connection with reality that confronts us is reflective observation and control of its symbols as they reveal themselves to sense perception. The other way is direct association with that reality as it reveals itself within. The naturalism of the Quran is only a recognition of the fact that man is related to nature. And this relation, in view of its possibility as a means of controlling her forces, the forces of nature. So that's a conceptual knowledge or reflective observational knowledge. Must be exploited not in the interest of unrighteous desire of domination. Now he's trying to differentiate his pursuit from that of the scientific exploitation of nature, but without giving up that confrontational stage within this journey, but in the nobler interest of free upward movement of spiritual life. Again, free upward movement of spiritual in the interest of securing a complete vision of reality. And complete, therefore, center must be supplemented by the perception of what Quran ascribes to as the heart, a direct. So, in a sense, so the mode of our knowledge of reality is indirect and direct. And indirect mode, you have reflective observation, and the reality is out there as something separate from you. But once you confront this reality and try to overcome its resistance, and this reality becomes conceptually known to us through appropriating the symbols as they reveal themselves to sense perception, we are able to have a direct knowledge of this same reality. So this is the intuitive, unmediated knowledge. And I guess the spiritual. So here, when you go subject to object, you reflective control. So that's the domination part. But you don't stop there. You bring it into conceptual field of the space of reason, and through that this object become part of the subjectivity, or you realize you're in a relationship with the object. And I guess by spirituality or free upward movement of a spiritual life, what he means is that when you are seeing object as from the external perspective, you are looking at it as something other than you. But once you, through reflective observation and appropriation, you are able to conceptually, through conceptual understanding, internalize this object become part of your subjectivity. And you realize that this object is not something separate from you, but it is your own self-realization. And I guess the whole process is self-realization of the reality higher than you, and you're part of that process as well. So that's what spirituality means for him, to see that humanity is the part of a cosmic process through which the ultimate reality is trying to complete itself or trying to realize itself. And when we realize that we are part of this cosmic journey, we attain, spiritual upliftment or spiritual higher spiritual awareness, where we realize from within our relationship with nature, as well as our inner relationship with nature and the cosmos as a whole. So sort of pantheism, really, Hegelian pantheism. And Allama Iqbal is attributing here all this to the Quran. Okay, so then he goes on to quote this ayah, and that will take some explaining and some focus. So let's stop here. Inshallah, pick it up from here next time.